In the beginning of the drama, we see the final round of the national swimming competition is about to begin. One by one, the names of all the swimmers are announced. The moment our male lead Lin's name is called, the entire stadium erupts in applause and cheers because he is the most popular swimmer of all. The final race begins. Lin leaves all his competitors behind and wins a brilliant victory. He is still celebrating his win when suddenly some officials arrive there. They put some serious charges on him and arrest him right in front of everyone and take him away. Lin himself cannot understand why all this is happening to him. Suddenly, Lin's sleep breaks. It was all just a dream. But this was not a dream. It was the memory of a true event that happened 4 years ago. That very event had changed his entire life. After that day, his brilliant swimming career was completely destroyed. For 4 years, he did not take part in any competition. Now, after a full 4 years, he is going to take part in an important swimming competition for the very first time again. Meanwhile, our female lead Yun makes her entry. Yoon is a trainee reporter in a sports weekly magazine. Today, she has got the chance to take the first interview of her life. Her assignment is to go to this very swimming competition and take interviews of the players. Yoon is very excited about this opportunity. She wants her first interview to be absolutely perfect. So she collects a lot of information from the internet about the player she is going to interview and keeps practicing her script again and again. She arrives at the venue even before the competition begins and is standing there rehearsing the interview. Just then, Lin passes by from there. He sees Yoon standing alone talking to herself and thinks to himself, who is this girl standing alone talking to? Is she crazy or what? At that very moment, Yoon's senior reporter also arrives there. He says with a smile, "It seems you have prepared well for your first interview. Everyone in the company feels that you are more talented than the other trainee reporter. Now you just have to keep that trust." Yoon answers with confidence, "Yes, I have prepared well. I will try my best to make the interview good." On the other hand, Lin's coach is very nervous. After all, after 4 years, Lin was entering a competition for the first time. But Lin remains completely calm. He tells his coach, "I have no tension at all." "Then why are you so worried?" This competition today was a new beginning for him. At that very moment, Yun Sr. tells her that they have not come here to take Lin's interview. Today, the most famous swimmer of the country, Feng, is also going to come here. Their real target is to take Feng's interview. The senior tests Yun's preparation by asking her many questions about Feng. Yoon gives the absolutely correct answer to every question. The senior is happy seeing her preparation. Then he gives a camera to Yoon and says, "I have brought this camera specially for you from the company. Keep it very carefully. If anything happens to it, there will be big trouble." Yoon keeps the camera very carefully with herself. On the other hand, as soon as the news comes that Feng is about to arrive, almost all the reporters gather to take his interview. After some time, Feng arrives there. Feng's coach asks him, "You are not taking part in this competition yourself. Then why have you come here wasting your time?" Feng smiles and answers, "Lin is my very good friend. After 4 years, he is entering a competition for the first time. On such an occasion, if I don't come to encourage him, then who will?" Saying this, he moves towards the pool. The moment the reporters see him, all of them run towards him to take his interview. The crowd is so large that Yoon is left behind. Just then, her senior gives her a small push and sends her forward. Yoon somehow reaches the middle of the crowd, but before she can ask Feng anything in the pushing and shoving, she loses her balance and falls straight into the swimming pool. When Yoon accidentally falls into the pool, Lin immediately jumps in and saves her. She wakes up on a bed, remembering the same childhood dream where a mysterious merman always saves her from drowning. Opening her eyes, she sees Lin and realizes he saved her again. She thanks him, then notices her clothes have been changed and gets nervous. Lin quickly explains that another girl changed them and hands her bag containing her clothes and camera. Relieved, Yoon immediately checks the camera and worries it may be ruined, costing her first job. Lin returns her ID card and learns she's a reporter. Yoon suddenly worries he missed his race because of her, but Lin smiles and says the event was delayed by an hour, so nothing happened. He even invites her to watch his race. Still unaware of his past fame, Yoon learns his name. Lin gives her his swimming goggle, joking they'll help if she falls into the water again. Smiling, Yoon says she's never interviewed anyone but promises that one day she'll interview him after he becomes famous again. Wanting to repay him, she shyly offers him the only thing she has, a boiled egg. Lin happily accepts it, calls her by name after reading her her ID card and leave. Back at the pool, Feng tells Lin he'll be waiting at the finish line. Lin confidently replies that after making everyone wait 4 years, he'll return only after winning. Meanwhile, reporters wait for Feng's interview, but Feng goes to watch Lin's race instead. Yoon also forgets about Feng's interview and stays to watch Lin compete. The race begins, and Lin brilliantly wins his first competition after 4 years. Yoon is genuinely happy and feels as if she's known him for a long time. Her senior scolds her for missing Feng's interview. Yoon excitedly suggests interviewing Lin instead, but he refuses, saying it was only a local competition and Feng's interview would have been far more valuable. He then jokes that since they missed Feng, maybe they should interview the reporter who fell into the pool. Embarrassed, Yoon admits it was her. Seeing her soaked camera, the senior gently tells her to first check whether the recordings can still be recovered instead of worrying about buying a new one. Touched by his kindness, Yoon thanks him. The senior smiles and says the best thanks would be bringing back Feng's interview. Elsewhere, Lin keeps smiling at the boiled egg. Feng snatches it, about to eat it, but Lin quickly stops him. When Feng asks why he keeps such an ordinary egg, Lin replies that a friend gave it to him, making it precious. Feng immediately teases that it must have come from a girl. Meanwhile, Yoon practices interviewing by herself. Feng arrives with his teammates, laughs, and jokes that she must be his fan before signing her swimming goggles. She quickly stops him, saying they were a gift. Recognizing the goggles as Lin, Feng asks if she gave Lin the boiled egg in return. Shocked, Yoon asks how he knows. Laughing, Feng realizes his suspicion was correct. He teases both of them until the coach arrives. When Yoon asks for an interview, Feng simply waves goodbye and leaves. Later, Feng notices Lin lost in thought and teases him about the reporter girl. Lin immediately denies it. Just then, Mai arrives with her girls' training group. Feng tries sending them away, but Mai confidently lifts a heavy barbell and challenges him. Frightened, Feng quickly backs off while everyone starts training. Yoon again asks her senior to interview Lin, but he insists the magazine only wants interviews with the biggest stars from each zone, including AM and Feng. He then shows the intern ranking. Yoon happily finds herself in 7th place, but moments later the rankings update, and she drops to 12th. The senior explains the rankings constantly change, and only exclusive stories can move her back up. Yoon realizes she still needs Feng's interview, yet she can't stop thinking about Lin and feels his story is far more important. Lin also keeps losing focus during training. Feng again asks if he's thinking about the reporter girl, but Lin simply smiles and changes the subject. That night, Yoon searches Lin online and discovers he was once one of the country's biggest swimming stars before suddenly disappearing after a scandal 4 years ago. Shocked, she becomes even more determined to uncover the truth. Meanwhile, Lin still keeps Yoon's boiled egg beside him. Feng laughs that he's never seen Lin treasure a girl's gift before. Lin only smiles silently. The next day, Yoon Sr. tells her the boss already knows about the damaged camera. Since only the top 2 interns will get permanent jobs, she must quickly bring an important interview. She again suggests interviewing Lin because of his remarkable comeback, but the senior refuses and insists they focus on Feng. He even lends her his own camera and tells her to be careful. At the next competition, everyone expects Feng to win, but Lin surprises everyone again by taking 1st place. Feng sincerely celebrates his best friend's victory. Yoon happily reminds her senior not to judge players too early. As reporters surround Feng, the senior pushes Yoon forward. Feng recognizes her and lets her ask the first question. She asks how he feels after losing to Lin. Instead of answering, Feng quietly moves her aside and speaks to the other reporters. Meanwhile, reporters congratulate Lin before suddenly bringing up his 4-year-old drug scandal. Hearing it, Lin's expression changes and Yoon is stunned. Another reporter even suggests this victory was also achieved through drugs. Lin calmly denies ever using them, but the accusations continue. Yoon steps in and asks whether they have any proof besides an old lab report, explaining that medicines or food can sometimes affect results. The reporter angrily dismisses her as just a trainee. Lin then says that Yoon has already spoken for him and firmly repeats that he has never used drugs. The interview ends there. Before leaving, Lin thanks Yoon for supporting him and gives her the bouquet he received for winning. Feng also hands her his bouquet, saying she supported his best friend. Another teammate joins in, leaving Yoon smiling with her arms full of flowers. Later, her senior asks why she argued with the reporter. Yoon replies that if Lin was guilty, he has already suffered enough, but if he's innocent, accusing him without proof is unfair. She truly feels he may be innocent. In the next scene, while walking with her senior, Yoon accidentally drops her purse. A cameraman named James finds it. Later, they end up on the same bus. When Yoon realizes her purse is missing and can't pay, James quietly buys her ticket. Embarrassed, she asks for his number to repay him. Instead, he takes 2 flowers from her bouquet as payment and leaves at the next stop after secretly taking her photo. Unknown to Yoon, James has also taken several photos and videos of her during the competition. Meanwhile, Lin thanks his coach for believing in him, saying his comeback is also because of the coach's support. That night, Mai visits Feng and Lin with gifts. She gives Feng healthy food and a package sent to Lin by another girl. Lin refuses the gift, saying he accepts neither presents nor anyone's feeling. Feng finds it strange because Lin still treasures Yun's boiled egg. When Feng jokingly calls her that reporter girl, Lin immediately corrects him, saying her name is Yun. His friends instantly realize Lin has started liking her. Meanwhile, Yoon worries about her lost salary because her purse is missing. James calls to say he found it. She tells him to keep the money and just return her bank card, but James refuses and promises to return everything the next day. After the call, he remembers how years ago Yoon had once saved his life, though she has completely forgotten him. The next day, James returns the purse at Yun's office. She happily recognizes him and insists on treating him to lunch, but he politely declines, saying they'll meet again. After he leaves, Yoon notices several trainee reporters crying outside the director's office. Her senior explains that almost everyone leaves the director's office in tears because of his strict nature. Soon the director calls Yoon inside and shows her the video where she defended Lin. He assigns her to investigate whether Lin truly used drugs 4 years ago or was framed. Yoon refuses, saying she doesn't want to reopen old wounds. The director firmly insists that the truth must come out, reminding her that he alone decides which interns get permanent jobs. When Yoon still refuses to back down, the angry director immediately drops her ranking from 12th to the very last 13th place, leaving her completely stunned. Outside, a fellow intern warns Yoon not to argue with the director. Her senior tells her a big competition is coming and a good interview could change the director's attitude. Yoon hesitates, saying she is only an intern, but another intern quickly takes the chance and leaves to cover the event. The senior says, successful people don't wait for opportunities, they grab them. Hearing this, Yoon decides she must get Feng's interview and goes to the sports academy. Feng is talking with Mai when a fan arrives for selfie. Mai clearly looks jealous. Meanwhile, Lin is practicing in the pool. While searching for Feng, Yoon reaches there. When Lin comes out of the water in a swimsuit, she gets flustered and runs away. She ends up on the basketball court, distracted enough not to notice a ball flying toward her. Lin rushes in, catches it, and scores in one shot. Surprised, Yoon praises his basketball skill. Lin asks why she ran away. Embarrassed, she admits she got nervous seeing him so close in a swimsuit. She then complains that no one will give her an interview. Lin explains that after Feng won the gold medal, reporters flooded the academy, affecting study and training, so interviews were banned. Yoon is surprised that athletes study too. Lin tells her he is actually the class topper and earned the highest marks while away from competition. Yoon is amazed and says she never expected a top swimmer to be a top student. The atmosphere between them becomes much more comfortable. When she again worries about Feng's interview, Lin quietly decides he will help if he can. Later, Lin shows her where Feng is, and they walk together talking. He says studies are as important as sports, which impresses Yoon even more. She hesitantly asks if he will ever talk about what happened 4 years ago. Lin turns serious and says, not now. One day, when the time is right, I'll tell you everything. She realizes the topic hurts him and lets it go. From a distance, Feng sees them together and smiles, thinking Lin has started liking the reporter. Yoon again shares her worries, and Lin reassures her that a solution will come. Feng arrives joking that they have become good friends. Yoon gets embarrassed. Feng teases her about working so hard for his interview and says he won't give it easily. She confidently replies that she will get it one day. After she leaves, her senior calls asking about the interview. When she says no, he warns her that without a big story, staying in the company will become difficult. Yoon realizes chasing only Feng's interview is not enough. Lin, meanwhile, keeps thinking about how she defended him despite barely knowing him. He feels she is different from others because she seeks the truth instead of believing rumors. Feng jokes with his friends that Lin is thinking too much about the reporter girl, and everyone laughs. Yeon also decides she will uncover the truth behind Lin's 4-year-old case. Later, Lin takes Yoon to Feng's coach for interview permission. The coach laughs and shows an old video where Feng's broken English confused foreign reporters so badly that they forgot their own English. Everyone bursts into laughter, including Yoon. Lin immediately supports her, saying she could teach Feng English and interview skills because her English is excellent. The coach likes the idea and appoints Yoon as Feng's English teacher. Feng dislikes it, wondering how this girl can teach him. Yoon checks his old test papers and sees his English marks were always poor. Embarrassed, Feng tries to snatch them back, but Lin stops him and deliberately speaks English. Feng cannot understand a word, and everyone teases him while hoping he will truly learn. Yoon begins teaching him. Other girls start gossiping that Feng and Yoon are getting close, which makes Mai jealous. She angrily goes to the gym. When Lin arrives wanting to talk to Yoon, Feng blocks him, saying she is his personal teacher. Lin claims he has English doubts, but Feng refuses to let him interrupt. Yoon smilingly says they will help Lin later. Realizing Feng is purposely sending him away, Lin leaves quietly. That evening, the lesson goes on for a long time. Feng actually wants it to become night so Lin can take Yoon home, but Lin misunderstands and complains that now she must return alone. Feng thinks he tried to help them, but Lin completely missed the point. Just then Mai angrily asks why he ignored her English lessons but studies so seriously with Yoon. Feng jokes that Mai is always sweaty from the gym while Yoon is neat and well-dressed. Mai gets even angrier. The next morning at breakfast, Feng keeps talking about Yoon and asks Mai if he looks handsome because Yoon is coming for his interview. Mai leaves in irritation. Later, Yoon finally interviews Feng. Afterward, he asks if they can add each other on WeChat. At that moment, Lin and the others arrive. Feng laughs and says everyone can ask girls for WeChat, but Lin never. Just then Mai arrives. Feng jokes, "You both keep leaving me just to look at Lin." Mai immediately replies, "Lin is much better than you." Of course, every girl likes him. They start arguing again while Yoon smiles and leaves. Lin walks her to the bus stop. On the way, Lin teases, "Do you only interview Feng?" Yoon laughs, asks him a few questions, and takes some photos. Smiling, she says, "Today I had to interview Feng, but when you become an even bigger player, I'll come fully prepared just for your interview." Lin is delighted. Sitting on the bus, Yoon keeps looking at his photos, wondering why they make her smile. At the office, Yoon shows Feng's interview. Her boss praises it, but says it lacked questions about Feng's personal life and the Dream Cup. Even so, he promotes her from rank 13 to 7. She's thrilled, but her senior reminds her that only the top 2 interns get permanent jobs and tells her to focus on Dream Cup reporting. Meanwhile, the academy announces Dream Cup trial. The coach says only players who perform well in the trials will reach the final tournament, regardless of last year's result. The North and South teams then face off. Lin and Feng are on the South team, while AM captains the North. AM mocks Lin, saying only Feng deserves to be there. Feng argues with him. Lin recalls that he, Feng, AM, and a girl were once close friends before their friendship fell apart, making AM his biggest rival. Feng tells Lin to forget the past and focus on the competition. Elsewhere, Yoon eats with her friend Yang. Yang shows her a blurry photo of famous investor James, hoping to interview him. Yoon doesn't recognize that he's the same man who helped her before. Just then, James arrives. Yoon warmly greets him, while Yang asks if he's the famous James. He smiles and lies, saying his name is Lin and people often mistake him for someone else. Jokingly, James asks Yoon if she'll guide him if he joins her company. She laughs, saying she's only an intern herself. After chatting, James pays the bill and leaves, once again surprising Yoon with his generosity. Later, Yoon and her senior go to the academy to interview AM, but security refuses them entry. Inside the gym, Lin is training when AM arrives and deliberately shoves a South team player. The player demands an apology, but AM refuses. Soon both teams gather and the situation nearly turns into a fight. Just then Feng notices Yoon outside. Learning she can't get in, he brings her inside as his friend. Seeing both teams confronting each other, Yoon realizes the camera can stop the fight. She quickly starts recording and begins interviewing them. The North team questions who allowed her inside. Feng steps in, saying he invited her. Seeing the camera, AM calms down and claims it was only an accidental push before apologizing. He then jokes that Yoon seems close to the South team. Before she can answer, Lin takes her away, clearly not wanting AM talking to her. The tension eases, the fight is avoided, and both teams calm down. But AM's hatred for Lin remains. Lin asks Yoon if she's okay. She smiles, saying things could have become serious without them. Feng jokes that she even stopped the fight, making everyone laugh. Training resumes as every player works hard for the Dream Cup. Lin pushes himself even more, remembering his coach's advice to focus on his comeback. Back at the office, Yoon reports the incident. Her senior praises her quick thinking and says she'll rise quickly if she keeps making smart decisions, boosting her confidence. Meanwhile, James quietly thinks about Yoon, happy to have met the girl who once saved his life, though he still hides his identity. Lin also keeps thinking about Yoon and realizes she's become more than just a reporter to him. Yoon, too, keeps looking at Lin's photos as the Dream Cup trials draw closer, and everyone trains harder, knowing one mistake could end their journey. Yoon asks Lin about the fight. He wonders if she was scared. She smiles, saying she knew nothing would happen and that, even if it did, he would save her. Lin jokes that maybe that's his job now. She then asks if his rivalry with AM is about more than swimming. Lin falls silent. Understanding, Yoon says she won't force him to talk and promises not to make today's fight into a news story, focusing only on the players' hard work. Meanwhile, James visits Yoon's office. The owner warmly welcomes the famous financial expert, hoping he'll become the company's advisor. James says he wants to experience the company as an ordinary employee first, even if that means assisting an intern. The boss agrees and assigns him as Yoon's assistant. Yoon is shocked, wondering why an intern needs an assistant. Her senior jokes that they'll simply help each other. James smiles and tells her not to worry. Elsewhere, Feng calls Yoon asking her to send the videos so he can check whether he looks handsome. Mai overhears and questions him. Feng quickly explains that Yoon likes Lin, not him, and he has no feelings for her. Mai becomes visibly happy. Seeing her reaction, Feng wonders why, still unaware that Mai likes him. Later, Yoon checks James's resume and is amazed by his qualifications. She asks why someone so capable became her assistant. James says his dream of becoming a swimmer never came true, so he wanted work connected to sport. Yoon isn't fully convinced and feels he's hiding something. Meanwhile, Lin's coach tells him not to let AM distract him and to focus only on winning. Lin trains even harder. Soon, James visits the academy and meets Lin. Lin is happy to see him. James explains that he now works in sports reporting, so they'll meet often. When Lin asks about his sister, James lies that she's abroad and doing well. But after Lin leaves, James watches Lin's old races with anger, thinking Lin ruined his sister's life and vowing revenge. It becomes clear he has a hidden grudge. Later, all the top swimmers attend a press interview. A reporter says the biggest rivalry is between Feng and AM, but Feng surprises everyone by saying his true rival is Lin. When James asks if Lin is better than AM, Feng confidently says Lin is the best swimmer. After the interview, James deliberately brings up Lin and Am's old conflict. Yoon dislikes it, fearing people will misunderstand Lin again. That's exactly what James wants. The interview goes viral and hateful comments against Lin flood social media. Feng becomes furious, and Yoon quickly calls him, asking him to keep Lin away from the comment. Feng replies that Lin has already seen them. Soon Lin calls Yoon. Worried, she asks if he's okay. Smiling, he asks her to sing for him. She does, lifting his mood. He then says he wants her at all his future matches and hopes she'll be there when he becomes the fastest swimmer in the world. Feng smiles, joking that Lin never gets this emotional with him. Just then AM arrives after overhearing everything. He mocks Lin again, but this time Lin replies confidently, "First break my records, then challenge me." AM is left speechless because he has never broken any of Lin's records. Meanwhile, Yoon sits in the office sadly reading the hateful comments against Lin, convinced someone is deliberately bringing up his past. Her senior points out that although the video's views are low, almost every comment targets Lin, proving people are interested in the issue. Yoon angrily blames James for the trouble Lin is facing, but James calmly says he only asked a question and isn't responsible for what people say. Yoon becomes convinced he is deliberately targeting Lin. Later, James brings coffee to make peace with Yoon. Yang notices and changes it to Yoon's favorite flavor, telling him that if he truly wants to apologize, he should at least know what she likes. James realizes winning Yoon over won't be easy. Meanwhile, Feng notices Lin's performance has declined and urges him to train harder because AM is getting stronger. At the office, James suggests re-uploading the famous race from 4 years ago where Lin was disqualified. The boss agrees. The video goes viral, bringing back old accusations and filling social media with hate against Lin. Everyone at the academy is furious. Some even suspect Yoon's involvement, but Feng immediately defends her, saying she is only an intern. Lin also refuses to blame her because he trusts her completely. Yoon, however, feels guilty because her company caused Lin's pain to return. James quietly feels satisfied because his plan has worked. Although hurt, Lin decides to ignore the rumors and focus only on winning. Feng reminds him the best answer is victory, and Lin trains even harder. Meanwhile, Yoon decides she will uncover the truth behind the 4-year-old case and prove Lin's innocence. As AM prepares to defeat Lin, James continues working against him behind the scenes while Yoon becomes Lin's strongest supporter. Back at the office, Yoon keeps reading hateful comments and feels helpless. Meanwhile, AM's teammates mock Lin about the old drug case. Lin silently walks away, but Feng angrily confronts them until AM stops him, saying the real answer should come in the pool. Later, Yoon watches Lin's interview where he says he once swam only for himself, but now wants to win for his coach, teammates, and friends. Deeply moved, she apologizes by message for the old video. Lin is about to reply when he hears Feng has just raced against AM. Lin finds Feng angrily punching a wall after losing. He reminds him of their school days when he wrote "win" on their palms and told them never to give up. Feng laughs, remembering how he once thought the word was written backward. The story then flashes back to when Lin, Feng, and AM first joined the academy. Lin dreamed of becoming the fastest swimmer in the world. AM wanted to become the fastest in the country, and Feng jokingly aimed for the universe. Their friendship began there, with Lin and Feng always protecting AM. Later, the coach warns them that personal competitions before the Dream Cup are forbidden. The next day, James picks Yoon up in a luxury car, claiming it belongs to a friend. She begins wondering who he really is. Soon, Yoon and James are sent to interview Lin. At the academy, AM's teammates mock Lin again, while Feng keeps swimming nonstop for nearly 25,000 meters. Reporters surround Lin with questions about his disqualification, but the coach takes him away before he answers. Inside, the coach reveals that the 4-year-old case has been reopened. Until the investigation ends, sponsors want Lin removed from the Dream Cup. Lin is devastated. Feng overhears everything and declares that if Lin cannot compete, neither will the South team. Lin immediately stops him, refusing to sacrifice everyone else's future. Ignoring him, Feng gives Yoon an exclusive interview, declaring on camera that he will also boycott the Dream Cup if Lin is banned. Lin rushes in and asks Yoon not to air it, but Feng insists the world must hear the truth. Back at the academy, Feng angrily tells the coach he doesn't deserve to lead the team. Mai and Lin remind him that the coach sacrificed his own career to protect Lin years ago, and that the decision came from higher officials. Realizing his mistake, Feng decides to apologize. Soon afterward, Lin confidently tells reporters that no one can keep him away from swimming, and that he is ready for any drug test to prove his innocence. AM also publicly declares that if Lin cannot compete, he won't compete either because he wants to defeat Lin fairly. AM's father, who sits on the selection committee, becomes furious. AM replies that only defeating Lin will make him proud. During this conversation, the name Kinji is mentioned for the first time, though her full story remains hidden. Later, good news arrives. Lin is allowed to compete in the Dream Cup, although he will undergo repeated drug tests. Lin happily accepts. Feng apologizes to the coach, who jokingly gives him a good beating while Lin and Mai laugh outside. Meanwhile, Yoon keeps calling Lin, but the coach takes away his phone and tells him to focus only on the competition. Believing Lin is angry, Yoon becomes upset. Soon, her landlady asks her to vacate the room immediately. With nowhere to stay, Yoon hides her tears from her worried mother before her phone dies. Meanwhile, the coach tells Lin about his own failed love story and warns him not to let love destroy his swimming career. With nowhere else to go, Yoon spends the night in the office. After charging her phone, she reads many worried messages from her mother and breaks into tears. From a nearby building, James quietly watches her through his window. Elsewhere, Lin thanks AM for supporting him. AM replies he only wants the chance to defeat him in the Dream Cup final. The next morning, everyone discovers Yoon slept in the office. Hungry and homeless, she finally accepts breakfast from James after first refusing it. Later, Yoon and James return to the academy. The coach again warns Yoon to stay away from Lin because she distracts him. James then tells Lin how much Yoon has risked for him by trying to stop harmful reports. For the first time, Lin realizes everything she has done. Meanwhile, Yoon refuses James's offer to help her find a house. James secretly gives Yang the key to a house and asks her to give it to Yoon without revealing its source. Yang asks why he keeps helping Yoon. A flashback reveals that years ago, when James's sister was critically ill, he collapsed drunk on the street. Yoon rescued him, paid for his treatment, cared for him, and encouraged him to live. Later, James searched for her until he finally found her working nearby. Since then, he quietly decided to protect her. Meanwhile, Yoon forgets her purse while trying to book a hotel. At the same time, Lin searches everywhere for her. Learning she left her old room 2 days earlier, he becomes worried. Finally, fate brings them together on opposite sides of the road. Smiling, they meet again after many days. Yoon admits she thought Lin was angry for ignoring her calls. Lin smiles and asks if she really believed he could be angry with her. She explains she feared hurting his career. Lin replies that instead of worrying separately, they should move forward together. Yoon says she has no regrets about supporting him, even if it affects her own career. When Lin learns she has nowhere to stay, he secretly takes her to his hostel and lets her stay in his and Feng's room for the night. Min is shocked to see Yoon there. Soon, Feng enters shirtless after a shower and screams in surprise. The noise brings the coach, but everyone quickly lies that Feng saw a cockroach, and the coach leaves. Lin decides Yoon will keep the room while Feng and Min squeeze into another room. Meanwhile, James shows Yang the house he prepared for Yoon. She asks if he loves Yoon. James smiles and says not yet, but one day he will ask Yang for a favor. Unable to sleep because of Feng's snoring, Lin returns to his room and finds Yoon searching for another place to live. He takes her to his favorite spot where he watches the stars before big competition. There, Lin says swimming makes him feel like he enters another world. Yoon admits life has been difficult lately. Lin gently tells her that outside they may be a reporter and a swimmer, but together they are simply Yoon and Lin. Smiling, they spend a long time talking before returning. That night, Yoon dreams romantically about Lin. Waking up, she wonders what is happening to her, still unaware that she is slowly falling in love. Before everyone wakes up, Yoon goes to say goodbye. She finds Feng hugging a sleeping Lin and secretly takes a funny photo. Lin wakes up and tries to grab her phone. She slips, but Lin catches her, leaving them inches apart. At that moment, Feng wakes up, snaps a picture of them, and jokes that they're making single people jealous. Lin immediately threatens to expose Feng's embarrassing photos too, making Feng back down. During breakfast, Feng eats plate after plate, leaving Yoon shocked. He laughs and says their daily training burns everything, so eating more only gives them more strength. Feng promises to find Yoon a good place to stay. Meanwhile, Mai gets annoyed when another girl brings food for Feng. Trying to become sweeter like Yoon, she changes her style, but Feng laughs and says it doesn't suit her, making Mai angry. At the office, Yang is about to tell Yoon about a house when Feng calls first. He has already found one at a low rent. James overhears everything. Although he had prepared another house for Yoon, he is simply happy she has found a safe place. Meanwhile, the academy announces the competition team. Feng, Min, and Mai are selected, but Lin's name is missing. Feng wants to question the coach, but Lin stops him. Later, the head coach explains that Lin's performance has declined and warns that if he doesn't improve, his career may end. Even Lin's coach becomes worried. Yoon moves into the new house, unaware that it actually belongs to Lin. The landlady warmly welcomes her and jokes that she would throw her husband out before asking Yoon to leave. Since her son lives in the hostel, she gives Yoon his room. Looking at childhood photos, Yoon comments that the boy was tall even as a child, not realizing it is Lin. At the academy, the coach shows Lin an aquarium and tells him to leave his past behind just like the fish. If he proves himself again, the final competition spot will be his. Chin overhears everything and grows even more jealous. Later, Lin speaks with his mother, who angrily complains that he never comes home and has rented out his room. Yoon overhears and realizes the landlady is talking about her son. Elsewhere, James visits the house he had prepared for Yoon and remembers how his sister once decorated things with love for Lin. He decides he will also keep helping Yoon without expecting anything in return. The next morning, Yoon accidentally calls Lin's mother Mom. Embarrassed, she apologizes, but the mother smiles warmly. While eating her food, Yoon remembers her own mother. Lin's mother says mothers always think about their children, but children rarely think about them. She jokingly complains about her own son, and Yoon offers to bring him home if she tells his name. At the academy, Feng asks about the new house. Yoon happily says the landlady is like a mother. Feng jokes about the landlady's son. Hearing this, Lin immediately tells Yoon to call him if she has any problems, while Feng secretly laughs because she is living in Lin's room. Yoon then encourages Lin by reminding him of the coach's words. Lin replies that seeing her removes half his stress. She tells him to bring back the smile he had as a child. Her words deeply touch him. Later, Lin texts Yoon, thanking her for restoring his confidence and wishing her success. Even after being scolded by her boss, Yoon keeps smiling, saying small things no longer matter. Meanwhile, Jin asks for a chance at the remaining 100-meter freestyle spot. A race is arranged between him and Lin. This time Lin swims brilliantly, defeats Jin, and secures the place. Feng celebrates, but Mai reminds him Chen is still their teammate. At the office, James again brings food for Yoon. She says she is no longer angry because Lin himself has no complaints against him. James realizes Lin now holds a special place in her heart. Chen is devastated by his defeat and refuses to eat. Mai asks Feng to comfort him, but Feng is too busy celebrating. Lin notices Chen's pain and feels guilty. Meanwhile, Yoon spends time cooking with Lin's mother. She says she has no boyfriend, making the mother secretly hope Yoon will marry Lin. She immediately calls Lin home for a blind date. Although Lin refuses because of practice, everyone, including Feng and the coach, convinces him to go. He has no idea the girl is actually Yoon. Later, Yoon repairs the swimming goggles Lin gave her and has Dream Lin written on them. Mai realizes Yoon truly likes Lin. Yeon teases Mai about liking Feng, and Mai admits she respects Lin because he always helped her, while Feng keeps joking about her feeling. Mai is also invited to the blind date but politely refuses. Later, Yoon takes Mai shopping and makes her buy a beautiful dress. Soon, Lin and Feng arrive. Feng jokes about Mai's new look, hurting her feeling. Yeon tells Feng to apologize, but Mai refuses to speak to him. Yoon congratulates Lin on earning the freestyle spot, but Lin feels sad because Chin lost his dream. Yoon explains that sports always have winners and losers. Unable to accept defeat, Chin leaves the academy despite Lin and Feng trying to stop him. Mai later tells Feng she returned the dress he mocked. Meanwhile, Young investigates James, but discovers all his records are confidential, making her even more suspicious. After Chin leaves, the butterfly event becomes vacant. Lin volunteers to swim both events. Feng challenges him, but Lin wins and takes responsibility for both races. Competition day arrives. Although one relay swimmer injures his leg, the South team barely qualified. Lin motivates everyone, promising they will be stronger next time. That evening, Young secretly follows James home and is shocked to discover he lives in a luxurious apartment. Meanwhile, Feng waits for Mai, but she leaves after seeing him with another girl. At the same time, Yoon returns Lin's goggles with Dream Lin written on them, telling him to remember his dream whenever he feels like giving up. Lin treasures the gift and asks her to attend his individual race because he never feels he can lose when she is watching. The next day, Feng wins his event. Then Lin races. Ignoring his rivals, he smiles only at Yoon. This time he keeps his pace steady, wins easily, and even breaks M's old record. The entire stadium is stunned while Yoon celebrates with joy. Afterward, reporters gather. Seeing Yoon standing at the back, Lin asks her to ask the first question and warmly answers her interview. Watching from afar, James calls his sister and says she would have been happy to see Lin's victory. That evening, everyone celebrates at Feng's parents' restaurant. The head coach sees the party on TV and scolds the coach. Feng secretly brings Yoon inside, making Lin happy. Once again, the coach warns Lin that Yoon could become a distraction, but Lin firmly says she is his greatest strength, not his weakness. Meanwhile, Am's father asks why he is happy after Lin broke his record. Am replies that defeating a stronger Lin will be even more satisfying. After the celebration, Lin goes home instead of returning to the hostel. There, he is stunned to find Yoon living in his house. Yoon laughs, realizing he is the son his mother always complained about. Lin calls Feng, who laughs and calls it fate. Yoon offers to sleep elsewhere since she is using his room, but Lin refuses. While arguing, she slips into Lin's arms just as his parents arrive. Embarrassed, Yoon insists they are only friends, making everyone laugh. That night, Yoon happily looks through Lin's childhood belongings while Lin keeps thinking about her. The next morning, Yoon tells Lin's parents how kind and selfless he is, even recalling how he once saved an injured girl during a competition without revealing that she herself was that girl. During breakfast, Lin's mother jokingly asks if they like each other. Both deny it at the same time, making the situation even more awkward. Later, Lin walks Yoon to the bus stop. Fans gather for selfies and autographs. Smiling, Lin notices Yoon has never taken a photo with him, so he grabs her phone and takes a selfie with his arm around her shoulder. Yoon shyly smiles. After she leaves, both miss each other. Back at the academy, Lin is surrounded by more fans while Feng proudly watches his friend's growing popularity. At the office, Yoon is promoted to third among the 13 interns and is given responsibility for all major reports about Lin. She is overjoyed. Meanwhile, Feng again fails to apologize to Mai. Soon after, he nearly falls down the stairs, but Mai quickly catches him and saves him. Later, Lin's mother asks if he likes Yoon. He denies it, saying swimming is his only focus. Smiling, she says she will introduce Yoon to his cousin Tony instead. Lin immediately falls silent, confirming her suspicion. At home, Lin's mother also asks Yoon to meet Tony as a friend. After much persuasion, Yoon agrees. Feng tells Lin that Tony is a handsome doctor and jokes that anyone would accept him. Restless, Lin rushes home and finds Yoon getting ready. His mother proudly says she chose her makeup and dress. Lin quickly says Tony prefers simple look. Yoon follows his advice, removes the makeup, changes into simple clothes, and Lin quietly feels relieved. After some time, Tony arrives. Whenever he tries talking to Yoon, Lin interrupts. Finally, Tony asks if Lin likes someone. Lin admits he loves a girl, but hasn't confessed yet and feels she likes him too. Tony understands everything. Later, Tony calls Lin's mother and confirms that Lin and Yoon love each other, so there is no need to arrange another blind date. On the way home, a drunk man scares Yoon. Lin protects her but gets injured. At home, Yoon treats his wound and emotionally says he is one of the country's most important swimmers. She starts saying, "You're my," but changes it to, "You are my very good friend." Tears fill her eyes, and Lin comforts her. Just then, Lin's mother sees them together and becomes certain they love each other. Both shyly try to explain, but she simply smiles and tells them to stay happy. At the academy, Feng is still trying to make up with Mai. The head coach suddenly appears dressed beautifully with a senior coach from the Asian Academy. She announces that he will supervise the Dream Cup training. Everyone is excited, but Lin's coach worries someone else will take credit for his hard work. The players joke that the head coach likes the senior coach, making Lin's coach slightly jealous. Meanwhile, James suddenly falls ill at work. Yun takes him to the hospital, but even after recovering, he insists on returning to work. She checks his temperature and scolds him before taking him back. Yang asks James if he loves Yun. He says he cares for her only because she once saved his life. Hearing this, Yang is disappointed because she has started liking James. During a meeting, Yang remains distracted and gets scolded. Yun tries talking to her, but Yang keeps her distant. James explains that they are also competitors. Yun replies they both wish to succeed together. Later, the boss warns Yang that her declining performance may cost her the job. At the academy, the senior coach notices Lin performs much better after listening to different music and explains that every athlete has something that motivates them. Soon, Yoon and Yang are assigned to interview Lin and AM. At the same time, the senior coach offers Lin a place on the Asian team. However, accepting it means giving up the Dream Cup and training overseas. Lin is torn. Yoon and Feng secretly overhear everything and feel both happy and sad. Later, Yoon asks what he will choose. Lin says he wants to win the Dream Cup with his friends, but also knows joining the Asian team is important. He stops while saying he would miss his team and academy. Yoon smiles and asks if he would also miss his parents. Lin quietly adds, "And you too." When he asks what she would do, Yoon tells him to follow his dream even if everyone, including her, will miss him. Her words calm Lin. Yoon spends the day filming his training and realizes how much effort swimmers put into every race. After training, Lin gives her a small gift, thanking her for restoring his confidence. When Yoon twists her ankle, Lin carries her home. James sees them together and becomes jealous. Soon, their photos go viral. Rumors spread that they are dating. Fans accuse Yoon of taking advantage of Lin, and the office blames her for damaging the company's image. The boss decides to fire her, but James argues that firing her now would only confirm the rumors. The boss agrees, but bans Yoon from covering Lin or the South team until things settle down. People continue gossiping. Yoon worries only that the rumors might affect everyone's work. Reporters also question Lin, but the coach stops him from answering. The senior coach orders Lin to stop meeting Yoon, fearing the rumors will ruin his Asian team opportunity. Lin explains he didn't reject the offer because of Yoon, but because he wants to win the Dream Cup with his team. The senior coach is shocked. Meanwhile, fans trouble Yoon again. James publicly holds her hand and claims that if she has a relationship with anyone, it is with him. The crowd calms down, but the news goes viral. Later, James says it was the only way to protect her. Seeing the video, Lin's mother worries the two may never be together. Later, Lin's coach meets Yoon and blames her for the rumors. Yoon calmly says she only wants Lin to become the world's greatest swimmer and will leave if she ever becomes a burden. The coach then reveals that Lin rejected the Asian team's offer because he couldn't bear leaving her. Yoon is left in tears. As Dream Cup training becomes more intense, the players surrender their phone. At the office, only 6 of 13 interns will keep their job. Already under pressure, Yoon becomes even more anxious. Her senior even gives her a farewell gift, believing she may not survive the cut. Feng later arranges a meeting, but Lin is waiting instead. Yoon asks if he refused the Asian team because of her. Lin denies it, saying he wants to win the Dream Cup first because he made a promise. Smiling, Yoon asks if that promise was to her. Lin smiles and admits it. Relieved, she realizes he made the decision himself. The team then begins harsh training at another location so Lin will never regret his choice. Meanwhile, Yoon tries interviewing a famous swimmer but fails. Exhausted, she collapses at work. James rushes her to the hospital. Even while half-conscious, she keeps saying Lin's name and worrying about the interview. James tells her to recover first. At the same time, Lin goes looking for Yoon. Learning she is away, he heads to her house. James brings her home from the hospital, carrying her inside. Lin arrives and stops after seeing them together. Yoon tells him not to come close because she has a fever and doesn't want him getting sick before the competition. Inside, James tells Lin they are not right for each other because swimming will always come first for him. Lin confidently replies that becoming the fastest swimmer was once his greatest dream, but now Yoon has become one too, and he will always support her. Meanwhile, Lin's coach reads Lin's chats with Yoon and realizes they only encourage each other. For the first time, he understands Yoon is Lin's greatest strength, not his weakness. Lin then visits Yoon's boss and says he only gave interviews to the company because of Yoon. If she is fired, he will only give interviews to her. Though the boss refuses, Lin confidently says that one day everyone will wait for his interview before leaving. Later, Lin brings porridge for Yoon and insists on helping her with the interview. Wearing masks, they wait with many reporters. Watching her struggle, Lin finally understands how hard reporters work. Yoon smiles and says everyone works hard for their dream. While Yoon sleeps, Lin secretly meets his childhood idol, Sam. Instead of talking about himself, he praises Sam's journey. Impressed by his sincerity, Sam agrees to give Yoon an interview. When Sam's message arrives, Yoon excitedly hugs Lin. The next day, the interview is a huge success. Just as interns are being eliminated, Yoon returns with the exclusive interview. The boss changes his decision. Not only does she keep her job, she becomes the top-ranked intern. Yang grows jealous, but James tells her Yoon achieved everything through her own hard work. Later, Yang confesses that she likes James. Happy for her, Yoon promises to help. Lin also hears about Yoon's success. Back at the academy, the coach asks where he went. Lin honestly says he visited Yoon because she was sick. Then, for the first time, he openly admits he truly loves her and believes their relationship will make them stronger, not weaker. Moved by his honesty, the coach silently returns Lin's phone. Feng overhears everything and later encourages Lin to confess after the Dream Cup before someone else does. Still, Lin cannot gather the courage. Meanwhile, Yoon deliberately leaves James alone with Yang. Yang invites James to dinner, but he refuses. Instead, he runs after Yoon and tells her not to pair him with anyone else. Surprised, Yoon asks who he likes. James finally confesses, "I like you." Hearing his confession, Yoon is completely stunned. At that moment, Lin arrives and overhears James's proposal to Yoon. Without saying anything, he quietly leaves. Worried, Yoon fears he has misunderstood. James tells her not to answer immediately and to think carefully. After he leaves, Yoon realizes her heart is filled with feelings for Lin. Later, Lin meets her and asks what answer she will give James. Yoon says she is confused. Lin replies that if she likes James, she should accept, otherwise refuse. Then he suddenly asks, "If I had proposed instead, what would you have said?" Yoon falls silent. She loves Lin too, but remembers the coach's warning. She says his focus should stay on the competition competition and that this is not the right time for dating. Without giving an answer, she leaves Lin believing they are only a player and reporter. Hurt, he walks away. Back at the hostel, Feng notices something is wrong. Lin says she neither accepted nor rejected him. Feng encourages him to wait for the right time, but Lin remains restless. Even during training the next day, Lin cannot stop thinking about Yun. Seeing his distraction, the coach scolds him and tells him to focus. Meanwhile, Yun avoids James in the office, but he calmly tells her to take all the time she needs and promises he will not stop trying. Just then Mai and Feng arrive. Feng indirectly hints that Lin likes Yun, but she doesn't fully understand. Later, Mai tells her directly that Lin truly likes her. Hope awakens in Yun's heart as she remembers every moment spent with him. While Lin gathers courage to confess, James waits for an answer, and Yun remains caught between them. Soon, the boss transfers Yun from sports to entertainment, saying it has nothing to do with Lin, but is simply a work decision. Yun then learns Lin even argued with the boss for her. She thanks him and asks him not to do such things again. Lin smiles and tells her to forget what he asked that day. Hiding her feelings, Yun says she had taken it as a joke. Later, while interviewing a film director with James, Yun reveals that as a child she almost drowned and an unknown boy saved her life. The director remembers that his crew had filmed nearby that day and begins searching for old photos. James finds one photo first and secretly hides it because it clearly shows that Lin was the one who saved Yun. Afraid they would grow closer, he keeps the truth hidden. The next day, Feng arranges for Lin and Yun to meet. Yun arrives with James and recalls the place where she nearly drowned. Lin also says he had been there 4 years ago, making Yun suspect he might be her savior. Before she can ask, James takes her away and falsely claims he saved her, using details from the photo to convince her. Yun believes him. Just then, Yun slips into the water again. Lin rushes to save her, but James pulls her out first. Yun becomes completely convinced James was her childhood savior. Back at the office, she tells Yang everything and says she is only grateful to James, not in love with him. James, however, wants her love, not her gratitude. Soon, James receives a call that his sister's condition has worsened. Broken, he returns to the office and hugs Yun while crying. At that moment, Lin arrives, sees them together, and quietly leaves. The next day, Lin competes, but memories of James and Yun distract him. Yun wants to cheer for him, but James keeps her busy. Distracted, Lin jumps into the pool before the race begins and is disqualified. Feng and Mai arrange another meeting between Lin and Yun. She says his disqualification saddened her. Lin says it doesn't matter because a bigger competition is ahead. Yun promises to support him, but Lin asks her to focus on her work and wishes only for her happiness. Once again, both leave without confessing. Watching from afar, Feng and Mai realize their plan has failed. Meanwhile, Feng slowly realizes he has fallen for Mai. At the office, Yang deletes important company files from Yun's computer and then pretends to save them with a backup. The boss blames Yun, and despite her explanations, nobody believes her. Yang convinces Yun to resign before disciplinary action ruins her career, and Yun almost agrees. Meanwhile, Lin apologizes to the coach for letting his feelings affect his performance. The coach tells him Yun was never the problem and encourages him to be honest about his feelings. That night, Lin finds a drunk Yun and helps her home. Thinking she won't remember, he finally confesses that he loves her. Just then James arrives, takes Yun away, and Lin silently watches them leave. The next morning, Yun vaguely remembers Lin's words, but wakes up in James's house. Seeing a girl's photo, she assumes it is his girlfriend, unaware it is actually his sister. Back at the office, Yang pressures Yun to resign again. Before she signs, Feng takes her outside and tells her clearly that Lin loves her. Yun doesn't believe him, so Feng hides her nearby and asks Lin directly. Lin openly admits he loves Yun, but fears she distracts him. Hearing everything, Yun says she wants him to become the world's greatest swimmer, and, if she is his weakness, she will leave his life. Crying, she walks away while Lin remains frozen. As Yun is about to submit her resignation, the film director sends her the recovered photo. She is shocked to see Lin clearly saving her life 4 years ago. She instantly realizes James lied. She rushes to find Lin, who is about to compete in an important relay race. Swimming the final leg, Lin defeats AM by a narrow margin and wins for his team. After the victory, he immediately finds Yun and confesses his love. Smiling, Yun reminds him he once called her a distraction. Lin admits he spoke out of jealousy after seeing her with James. Yun finally confesses she loves him too, but asks that they keep their relationship secret until his career is secure. Lin agrees. Later, Yoon hints that she was the girl he saved years ago and quietly thanks him. She then confronts James, who admits he lied because he feared losing her to Lin. Yoon says she is leaving the company, leaving James speechless. Meanwhile, AM visits Kenji in the hospital after losing to Lin. James confronts Yang, exposing her for framing Yoon and warning he will never forgive her if Yoon loses her job. When Yoon submits her resignation, the boss refuses it because Yang's crime has been exposed. Later, Yang admits she betrayed Yoon out of jealousy because both success and the man she liked favored Yoon. Heartbroken, Yoon learns the truth about her best friend. That evening, Lin visits Yoon and wants to reveal their relationship, but she asks him to wait. She tells him about Yang's betrayal, and Lin reminds her that friendships can change with time. The next day, everyone studies together at Lin's house, while Lin and Yoon hide their relationship. Later, Yoon tries to reconcile with Yang, but Yang refuses to listen. Meanwhile, Feng secretly hides a serious shoulder injury because he wants to play in the Dream Cup with Lin. Later, Yang warns Yoon that James may have another motive connected to Lin and mentions a girl named Kinji. Curious, Yoon finds an old video showing Kinji proposing to Lin and realizes James, Lin, and Kinji share a hidden past. The coach also discovers Feng has been relying on painkillers, but Feng refuses to reveal his injury. Yoon finally questions James. He takes her to the hospital and introduces his sister, Kinji, who has been in a coma. James admits he first approached Yoon because she looked like his sister, but later truly fell in love with her. He reveals that Kinji loved Lin deeply and always supported him. When Lin was accused of taking drugs, people blamed Kinji as well. The accusations shattered her, and after an accident, she fell into a coma. James believes Lin moved on while Kinji remained trapped in that pain. As players gather for the Dream Cup, Tion arrives and immediately proposes to Mai. She rejects him, saying she likes Feng. Watching from afar, Feng misunderstands the situation. Later, Tion tells Lin that Kinji had an accident. Lin is shocked and remembers angrily confronting Kinji years ago after discovering she had tried to mix drugs into his drink to help him win. Her heartbreak led to the accident, something James never told him. Yoon asks Lin to focus only on the competition because Kinji is safe. Feng and Tion then compete with Mai as the prize of their bet. Despite his injured shoulder, Feng wins. Tion admits Feng truly loves Mai, although Feng still cannot confess. Lin grows suspicious of Feng's injury. During a race, Mai distracts Lin, allowing Feng to win, but Lin realizes Feng is hiding serious pain. Soon, Kinji wakes from her coma, but remembers nothing after age 16. James asks AM not to mention Lin, though AM continues visiting her. James introduces Yoon to Kinji, who jokingly calls her future sister-in-law because James told her he liked Yoon. He also asks Yoon not to mention Lin. Mai later discovers Feng's shoulder injury and promises to keep it secret. As Kinji's memory slowly returns, she unexpectedly visits the academy. Lin is surprised to see her, but her health suddenly worsens and she returns to the hospital. Kinji asks to spend time with Lin, making Yoon jealous. Mai assures her that Lin always treated Kinji like a sister, easing her worry. Yoon later admits her jealousy, and Lin reassures her. Finally, Kinji clears every misunderstanding. She confesses that she mixed the drugs into Lin's drink to help him win, and Lin unknowingly drank it. James and AM realize Lin never intended to hurt Kinji, and their hatred disappears. Months later, everyone's life changes. Feng and Mai begin dating. Both coaches reunite, and AM and Kinji also grow closer. Lin is selected for the Asian team and must leave for America. Although sad to leave Yoon, he receives wonderful news. Yoon has been chosen as the team's official reporter and will travel with him. Overjoyed, Lin realizes he has achieved both his greatest dream and the love of his life. And with that, the story comes to a happy end.